They did it. They actually did it! Hey everyone, Rizzo here, and welcome to the third episode of my Cold War Zombies review series. Today, we're not covering that awesome new open world mode, or that map that came out like 2 months ago that I totally forgot about. Instead, we're taking a second look at Cold War's first bonus mode, Zombie Onslaught. But before we really get into it, if you haven't watched my original review of the mode, I'd highly recommend it. Because to fully appreciate Onslaught 2.0 as I like to call it, it's important to understand and see how it used to play. Trust me, it wasn't fun. So, with that out of the way, let the Onslaught begin. Since my initial coverage of the mode, much about Onslaught has changed. The core formula has remained untouched, but the player progression and power potential has undergone a complete overhaul. You still follow an orb around multiplayer maps and fight off increasingly difficult waves of zombies, with the occasional elite thrown in for good measure. Previously, there was no way to pack-a-punch your weapon, and our trusty robo-buddy Ivan was absent from the mode, meaning that you couldn't increase a weapon's damage tier or obtain armor higher than level 1. This made the mode a complete slog after 20 minutes of play. Flash forward to now. Elite kills are still the only real way to enhance your loadout, but they don't just reward you with a new weapon or a kill streak anymore. They can also drop a ton of new power-ups that completely change the mode for the better. Among these new power-ups are the Aether tool, which can be used to upgrade the rarity of your weapon, ammo mods to give your weapon a special ammo type, level 2 and level 3 armor vests to give you even more protection for the higher surges, and last, but certainly not least, the chalices. Consuming the Cum Chalice will pack-a-punch whatever weapon you're currently holding and come in 3 separate rarities that correspond to pack levels. Bronze for pack 1, silver for pack 2, and gold for pack 3. The inclusion of these power-ups single-handedly addressed the biggest problem that I and many others initially had with Onslaught. Its absolutely horrendous gameplay balance. Because the zombie health progression was the exact same as it was in the round-based maps, the game's balance quickly collapsed in on itself because you simply could not deal enough damage. But now that these new power-ups exist, you can, and then some. And you're gonna need these upgrades because just recently, to balance out this new power, Treyarch added super sprinters to the Onslaught enemy pool. This inclusion makes the gameplay of the smaller maps really intense in the later surges. The core gameplay of Onslaught actually works now, and just like I predicted back in my original review, it's quite a lot of fun. But even more fun is the variant of the mode that was just recently introduced, Onslaught Containment. This mode takes place exclusively on Cold War's gunfight maps, and features a red Aether orb that never moves. The whole map is open to run around at all times. But don't think that this makes the mode easier. Containment, after the first 20-25 surges, how would I put it, is a never-ending panic attack, and I can't get enough of it. Despite all of these positive changes, and I really can't undersell how good they are, there are a couple of things that still aren't perfect. For starters, the drop rate for golden chalices is astonishingly low, even in the higher surges. So if you're the type of player that likes switching up your arsenal throughout a game, you'll be putting yourself at a huge disadvantage, because it's highly unlikely that you'll be getting a pack 3 chalice for that shiny new toy anytime soon. Another element that kinda falls flat, the new elites. To spice up the boss rounds, 2 new elites were added to the spawn pool after the release of Funny Base Z, Manglers and Mimics. Unfortunately, even though they're really cool additions on the surface, they are far weaker than the Megatons, so it doesn't feel like you're actually struggling to take down this powerful zombies mini-boss. It feels like you're shooting slightly beefier than average zombies, and if you have Ring of Fire or Frost Blast ready, well...
absolutely fucked.
To fix these elites, maybe have them like the Horde Patrols in Outbreak where they spawn alongside a ton of zombie reinforcements, or maybe upgrade the Manglers and Mimics to be more like the HVT elites or something along those lines. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. And lastly, there's the issue of the Aether Orb's constant traveling. After every surge, the orb will travel to a new part of the map before zombies start spawning in again. I have never been a fan of this, as it makes the pacing of each match very awkward, especially when playing on larger maps like Crossroads and Miami. On the small to medium sized maps, the time between surges is roughly the same between rounds in normal zombies. This downtime is fine in wave-based zombies since the rounds last quite a while, and sometimes you need that downtime to find new equipment or help a teammate up. But there's not really much of that in Onslaught. Since the arenas are repurposed multiplayer maps and all progression is done through elite encounters, you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs as you wait for the fun to start again. I think a good band-aid solution for this would be to maybe have the orb only move after every elite encounter. That way, you get about roughly 3 times the amount of action, but the orb still moves around the map, so you get to play in different parts of it. But this fix only applies to normal Onslaught, because this is a problem the containment fixes, and then some. But unfortunately, the reveal trailer states that it's a limited time mode, so this arguably superior version of Onslaught might not actually be around for long, which is a damn shame because it's genuinely really good. On the off chance that any Treyarch developers are sitting in the audience at the moment, if you want to take it out of the public playlist eventually, that's fine. But if you could keep containment available as an option in private matches, that'd be great. Seriously, please don't get rid of this mode. So in conclusion, Onslaught has come a long way. When I initially covered this mode a few months back, it was in a really rough, unbalanced state. But underneath all those balancing issues, I could see that there was indeed potential here. It just needed a bit more love, and thankfully, Treyarch took the initiative and gave it some. No longer does the mode's gameplay balancing completely collapse due to bad RNG. No longer do you quit out of pure frustration because you can't actually kill enemies. You can play as long as you want now, or as long as you can because those super sprinters are kinda tough to deal with. Onslaught is just, it's good now. Seriously, talk about a glow up. If you were to put it on a tier list, old Onslaught wasn't just F tier, it was in its own tier. But now, I'd argue that it's a solid B- maybe? Containment, on the other hand, is a solid A for people like me that love that fast-paced junk food kind of play. Regardless, Onslaught is finally the undemanding, fun little side mode I always knew it could be, and I couldn't be happier with the changes. Really, I love a good comeback story. It just sucks that it's a 1-year PlayStation exclusive, but that's most likely not Treyarch's fault, so I'm not gonna give them any shit for it. Activision, on the other hand, yeah, fuck those guys. Well, that's all for today. I know this video was very short compared to my normal reviews, but honestly, there wasn't really all that much to say. I just felt like with how critical my original review was, and how it doesn't really reflect the mode as it is now, that updated coverage was warranted. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.